Thank you, Shogji, for all your support. So, good morning, everyone. Those who have joined in, uh, please confirm if audio, video, and voice is all clear to you.
Clear, sir. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Maybe wait for a few minutes so that everybody who is still in the process of joining in can join in. So, how the studies are going on? Maybe we can have a quick use of this 1 minute. All good.
Good, sir. Going on.
Okay. 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 So I think we will start now. So the topic for the day is India 24 related party dispute, and you must have studied the related party standard in your IGF as well, right? So you will be able to recall what we were doing that standard. So as such, this standard doesn't require any accounting, right? So because there is no accounting required, so no calculations required, right? Largely, and because no calculations, numericals are required, so we can give a rest to our calculators at least for today's session, right? So that's the discussion only, right? So we need to make in financial statements are governed by this standard for with the related parties. So that's the core objective of this standard. So the objective is to ensure that financial statements contain the necessary disclosure with respect to the related party relationships, right? So we're trying to ensure that our financial statements contain all those necessary disclosures that are required by this standard, right? To make the users of the financial statements, equipped enough to understand which all relationships, might affect the financial statements or financial position or profitability of the company by having the related party transactions, right? So when we talk about the related party transaction, so always somewhere supposedly we generally tend to think that there is thing fish is going on or something which is not appropriate thing might be there. So that's the objective. So in case any transactions are affected because of some relationship between the two entities, then those transactions might not be true, in nature, or might not be, the fact is one entity suffers profitability and other entity gains, right? So basis which entity the wants to flip in terms of the or which entity they want to uh, uh, bear the unnecessary cost. So accordingly, these transactions could be designed, right? Now, in the absence of any disclosure around these related parties and the transactions with those related parties, users will never be able to understand that if the financial statements and statement of profit and loss account, right, depicting the true and correct picture, right, or true and fair view, right? So that's the importance of this standard. So by having these disclosures in our financial statements, if any investor who is prospecting to invest in a particular company can read what all related party transactions are there in the company's annual report, right, annual financial statements, and what is the extent of those transactions in relation to the overall revenue or overall asset size of the balance sheet, right? For example, there is a related party transactions A Limited is having with B Limited. For example, A Limited is having a relationship with B Limited, right? And A Limited is making a 10 crore sale, right, during the year. So this transaction needs to be disclosed, right? Now, the overall revenue of A Limited is, say, suppose 12 crore, right? So it in that case, what eventually it means that A Limited is doing significant portion of its business with one related party, B Limited, right? So that raises the eyebrows of the investors to understand deeply what this transaction actually constitute. Is this transaction at the right price or not, or is there anything further which we need to dive in, right? So these questions come up as and when somebody comes to know that there are transactions with the related parties. Suppose if this standard is not there and this disclosure of 10 crore transaction is not required, then nobody will come to know eventually, right, about these related party relationships and the transactions with them, correct? So that's the core objective of the standard, right? Now suppose instead of 12 crore, this total sales value is, say, 120 crore, right? So in that case, somewhere around 8 to 9% of the total revenue is pertaining to this single sale with a single related party, right? In that case also it is significant. And suppose in case this transaction is not 120 but rather 1200 crore is the overall revenue, then this transaction becomes very less as compared to the proportion of the overall sale, and investor might not be very worried about this particular piece of transaction, right? So this is how the sensitivity of the transaction becomes important basis how it how large it is as compared to the overall size of the company, right? And overall size of the company is determined by overall revenue, overall asset base of the company, right? So in that regard, investors generally perform these analysis basis on the disclosures required by this standard. So if these disclosures are not there in the financial statements, nobody will come to know about these related party relationships or related party transactions, right? So the core objective of the standard is to ensure that an entity's financial statements contain the necessary disclosure with respect to related party relationships, related party transactions, outstanding balance at the reporting date, and any other commitments which they have entered into with each other to perform, in upcoming year or upcoming periods for future periods, right? So any commitments disclosure, right? So these are the core objective of this standard, which uh, this standard wants us to achieve, right? So standard also says, and to draw attention to the possibility that its financial statements may have been affected by the existence of above mentioned related parties, relationships, and the transactions, right? So if we are going to disclose the name of the related party, the nature of the relationship, and the transaction and the outstanding balance, then it means investor will come to know eventually who are the related parties, why they are related parties, which all transactions have been entered into with them during the period, right, or the year, and what are the outstanding balances with them as on the reporting date, right? So this is the core objective. Any questions? No questions?
No, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, what's the scope of the standard? The standard applies to certain categories of companies, certain large companies, or to all companies who are preparing the India's financials. So standard is applicable to all companies who are preparing the India's financials, right? So there is no exemption exceptions as per the standard available, right? Now the standard has to be applied in identifying related party relationships. So how the standard will help in identifying? So standard defines which all parties will be the related parties, right? So that we will discuss, right? And basis on those, we will identify which all parties are the related parties for a particular company or entity, right? Then Once the related parties are identified, then we will identify their ledger balances, their ledgers to scrutinize which all transactions have occurred with them, right? So we will identify the related party transactions with those parties by visiting their ledgers, right? Then identifying outstanding balance between the entity and the related party. Again, the GL balance of those related parties, right? The outstanding balance at the reporting date. If we are preparing the financials at quarter end, then at quarter end. If we are preparing half year end, then half year end. And if we are preparing annually, then annually, right? So whatever is the reporting period and reporting date, on that very date, we will identify the outstanding balances. And basis on management representations, if there are any other commitments which they have entered into with those related parties or any of the related parties, then we will take the submission from the management, right? In the form of say management representation letter or whatever, right? And they will give us all the necessary details, right? Identifying the circumstances in which the disclosures of the above items are to be made, right? Now, we will identify uh, who is the reporting entity, right? Then for the reporting entity, which all parties are the related parties, what are the transactions, what are the balances, and if there are any commitments, right? So all these informations once gathered, then we will structure that information in a particular format and manner and present it in our financial statements. And all the disclosures which are required by this standard are to be met, right? So there are certain disclosures which the standard requires. So we have to ensure the checklist that all the disclosures which are required by this standard are duly made in our financials, right? So this is the scope. Now the standard says disclosure is to be made in standalone financial, separate financial statement, or the consolidated. What do you think? Where we need to disclose the related party disclosures? What do you think? Any idea? Standalone FS, not console, or both?
I think, sir, in both, in standalone and consolidated.
Right. So standard says disclosures are to be made in the individual financial statements, right? That is the companies preparing the standalone, their own financial statements. And if the company is also preparing the consolidated, then in their consolidated and separate, both financial statements, right? And while preparing the CFS, you must have seen that intra-group related party transactions and outstanding balances are eliminated in the preparation of the CFS, right? So whenever the subsidiaries are, controlled by the parent and consolidated financial statements are prepared. So in that case, whatever the transactions and the outstanding balances are there with the subsidiaries are generally eliminated. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It is eliminated.
It is eliminated. So in the CFS, the consolidated financial statements, what you will do? Will you still be disclosing the transactions with those subsidiaries and the balances of those subsidiaries, or you will be not disclosing those?
Sir, I think we will disclose even after eliminating it in note to finance.
Okay. So when we prepare the consolidated financial statement, what is the primary assumption we have? So we are preparing this as CFS. It means we assume that the parent company along with its subsidiaries is the one legal entity. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then one legal entity can do transactions with themselves?
Yes, they can.
No. They cannot. How a particular entity can do the transaction with itself? Right? Can you make a purchase and sale to you?
Sir, we can't make purchase and sell, but
Right. So what happens when we prepare the separate or individual financial statements, then we disclose all the transactions with those subsidiaries and the balances with them, right? But when we prepare the consolidated, we do not repeat the transaction with subsidiaries or and the balances. in the consolidated financial statements. That is already there in the standalone. But all other related parties and transactions and balances are continued to be disclosed in the CFS, right? So you must have observed this. This is the same in the IGAP too, right? And in the NDS too, right? So there is no difference. Now, what is the difference? The difference is NDS 110 is already done in this batch.
Yes, sir.
Consolidated financial statements, right?
No, sir.
No,
Yes.
not done.
No, sir. Consolidated haven't done it.
110, not yet done. Okay.
No,
Not
no.
yet
So,
done.
so in 110, when you go and study the Indias 110, it tells you about the definition of control, right? And that is very wide and broader as compared to what we used to understand under the IGAP environment, right? Now, the control basis the control definition, the subsidiaries are identified, right? These could be a different subsidiaries uh, uh, as compared to the IGAP, right? So it is quite possible that a particular company is a subsidiary in the IGAP and may not be a subsidiary in the Indias and vice versa, right? That can happen, right? Basis this control definition. Now, one more item Indias 110 talks about is exemption to certain companies to prepare the financial CFS, right? Consolidated financial statements. What those entities are? Those are investment entities. What do you mean by the investment entities? Investment entities like mutual funds, NBFCs, insurance companies, right? Venture capitalist, right? So these type of bodies whose primary objective is, to generate profits by doing investment in the listed, unlisted companies' shares, right? So this is the core objective of the investment company. Now, by any chance, if this mutual fund, for example, HDFC mutual fund, right, or ICICI Prudential mutual fund, right, or any other asset management company is very bullish about a particular company is future prospects, and they start buying the shares of that company, and suddenly they realize that in the process of buying, continuous buying, right, through prolonged period, they have ended up acquiring, say, more than 50% stake. Possible? Not possible? Possible, right? If the
Possible.
company continues to buy the shares of a particular company, or from their existing investors, they are doing the bulk deals as well, and they end up acquiring, say, 51% holding, right? So prima facie, would you regard this company as a subsidiary of this mutual fund company or not? Yes, prima facie, though, it is a subsidiary because they are controlling
Yes.
51% stake or the voting power in that company. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Prima facie.
prima facie, right? But the standard Indias 110 comes into play and says that because the core objective of these mutual fund companies, asset management companies, insurance companies, or investment companies, PMS, venture capitalists, whatever is the investment company, is not to drive the strategic decisions of that company or do the active management of that company, right? And hence we are providing an relaxation or exemption to prepare the consolidated financial statements by these asset management companies to include these investment uh, companies, basically the companies in which they have invested as a subsidiary, right? So these asset management companies are relaxed by 110 to consolidate, right, those companies in which they have acquired the stake for investment purpose only, right? And they are not intending to run their business, right? So they are not going to run their business or take their strategic decisions or management, and they are not going to drive the business of the company, but they are just waiting for the company share price to grow for in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years period. And then once they realize whatever the gains they are targeting, they will eventually sell the stake, right? So that's the core objective. So in that case, the consolidation of these investments are not required. And then standard says how those investments will be measured. They will be measured at FVTPL, right? Right. Now, what's the importance of this? So this relaxation, provides a cushion to the investment companies to take their investment decisions rationally, right? And can avoid the unnecessarily complications, of the accounting, for the consolidation applicable to those investments otherwise, right? So that's the core objective of this relaxation. Now, similarly, under the related party transaction as well, because it will be covered as a related party by virtue of establishing the control over that entity, right? So here as well, this will not be regarded as the related party, right? So we will skip the disclosures for that. So this is the exception common. And what is the another exception? Disclosures not required when it would conflict with the reporting entity's duties of the confidentiality, right? For example, if there is any information related to the related party is disclosed by a company A, for example, again, A Limited is a company, right? Reporting entity, right? Which is preparing the financial statements under Ind AS, and it has a relationship with the B Limited, right? For example, right? Now, A Limited is required to disclose the name of the B Limited, right? As a related party, nature of B Limited as a related party, for example, subsidiary, JV, associate, whatever it is. And then third, the nature of the transaction. Then fourth, the balance, right? So these are all required. Now, standard says if it would conflict with the reporting entity's duties of confidentiality, right? Then the disclosure pertaining to B Limited can be skipped, right? But in practical life, as such, there are no instances I have seen until now where this clause is getting triggered and a company is skipping the disclosure, saying the confidentiality clause, right? It can happen in certain cases. For example, in India, banks are not yet covered under the India's regime, right? So as and when banks are covered, and because banks, might be having a sensitive information about any large companies prospects, right? So in that case, it can happen if there is an agreement, master agreement between the bank and that company, to maintain the confidentiality about the transaction and the nature of transaction with the B Limited. But this is also hypothetically I'm thinking as I'm speaking. Generally, it is not possible for a company to come and say that because of confidentiality we will not be able to disclose the nature and the nature of the relationship and the nature of the transaction and the volume of the transaction, right? But still, for the purpose of having this uh, uh, you know uh, option available, the disclosure the standard has casted this as one of the exception, right? So in case management is going to opt this exemption or exception to avoid or skip any disclosure, then they will certainly need to substantiate basis on what law or what agreement they are going to skip this, right? So entity generally doesn't, it is not easy to simply avoid any disclosure by virtue of this clause available, right? So that is what I wanted to say, right? Although this is available theoretically, but practically it is very difficult to apply. Now, entities prohibited by any statute, regulator, or similar competent authority to disclose certain information. So if there is any law enacted, or any notification is passed by the government to skip any particular information to be disclosed in the financial statements, and by virtue of that law or notification or any other official gazette announcement, if entity believes that they are falling in that, and hence because law also needs to be complied, right? And if India doesn't give this relaxation, then either there will be a non-compliance with the law or there will be a non-compliance with the India's, right? So India has given this option as well. So in case any law is there which is playing contradictory to any disclosure requirement of this standard, then that can also be skipped, right? So these are the two situations where disclosure can be avoided. Otherwise, all the disclosures are mandatory. Clear?
Clear.
No, purpose anyway. Now we have understood, right? We have discussed in detail. Now, it is quite probable that the related party relationship may have an effect on the profit, right? Of course, if I am doing sales at a lesser price, it means I am doing a discounted sale so that other entity, will gain in terms of, reduced cost, right? So uh, that's the possibility in the any related party transaction, right? So standard is saying transactions that are entered between the related parties may not be entered with unrelated parties, right? So if any transaction is not at arm's length, then it may trigger that there is quite possibility that that transaction might be getting entered into with any related party rather than unrelated, right? So that is one of the indicator the standard is saying is possibly there, right? Which we need to keep an eye. And then transactions with unrelated parties getting influenced because of the related party relationships. So even if the transaction is with the unrelated party, but it might also be influenced by virtue of any other party's relationship. For example, S Limited is a subsidiary of H Limited in a steel manufacturing used to purchase billets from UR Limited, right? H Limited acquires 100% stake in another company, FS Limited, who also manufactures billets. Now, FS Limited is now a fellow subsidiary of S Limited. H Limited instructs S Limited to not purchase billets from UR, but to purchase from FS Limited for all of its requirements, right? Now, because here both are fellow subsidiaries of the common parent, and the parent is instructing its one of subsidiary to purchase its raw material requirement from that very fellow subsidiary only. So it might be possible that there could be an influence over the price as well. As long as there is no influence over the price and transaction is at arm length, no issues. But if there is, then it will investors eyebrows will be raised. So how investors will come to know? By virtue of the disclosure of this standard, because both companies are fellow subsidiaries. So the nature of relationship would be fellow subsidiary transaction, purchase of billets, right? Balance outstanding, whatever it is, right? So once we disclose this information, then only investors will be able to know that there is a transaction happening with the FS Limited, which was earlier unrelated party, but now it is a related party, and hence transaction could be influenced in terms of its price or cost, right? So this is how the standard is just trying to make us understand the sensitivity of this topic, right? Now, once we are clear with the nature of related parties, which all parties are our related parties, the task is easy. The only task or important task in this standard is to understand the meaning of the related party. Which party is your related party? That is the important step. Thereafter, the task is easy, right? So, identification of related party will start with now. So standard has given a definition of the related party. The related party can be of two types. Number one, a individual, right? Right. Or number two, an entity, that is a corporate. Correct. So there could be only two types of related parties. Either it could be an individual, right? Or it could be an entity, another entity, right? A reporting entity is an entity that is preparing its financial statements. Of course, we know this, right? Because from the standpoint of the reporting entity only, we are discussing this standard. There are two types of relationship. One relationship is with the reporting entity and the individual, and the another relationship is between the reporting entity and the other entities or other body corporates, right? So these are the two relationships, and accordingly the standard has divided the related party identification into these two steps. So first of all, we will discuss with the person. Person or a close member of that person's family, right, is related to the reporting entity if that person has control or joint control over the reporting entity, right? So control means, for the sake of simplicity, greater than 50% of the stake, or joint control, right, when two parties are controlling, right, a single entity. So that is called joint control over the reporting entity, or has a significant influence, that is greater than 20% over the reporting entity, right? Or is a member of the KMP, key managerial person of the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity. So what does this mean? So let's understand an example. So there is a Mr. X, right? And Mr. X has a 51% stake, right, in suppose ABC Limited. Okay. Then it means Mr. X controls ABC Limited. So ABC Limited is preparing the India's financial. So ABC Limited will disclose the Mr. X as related party by virtue of Mr. X having a controlling stake. Or suppose ABC Limited is controlled by two people, Mr. X and say Mr. Y as well, right? Both have say 50% stake, for example, right? Then for ABC Limited, Mr. X as well as Mr. Y, both are related party, right? Yes or no? Suppose ABC Limited has a third member as well, Mr. Z, right? And now Mr. X has 40% stake, Mr. Y also has 40% stake, and Mr. Z has 20% stake, right? So in that case, Mr. Z can also have a significant influence over the affairs of ABC Limited, right? So in that case, Mr. Z will also be considered as the related party as per this standard, right? Then ABC Limited has a CFO, right? So CFO is a KMP, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So CFO will also be a related party for ABC Limited financials, right? And suppose ABC Limited has a parent, say PQR Limited, and Mr. X, Mr. Y, and Mr. Z, instead of having a direct shareholding of ABC, they hold similar stakes in PQR. And PQR holds 100% stake in ABC, right? Then in that case, PQR is the parent of ABC Limited, yes or no? Yes. So because now PQR holds, controlling stake of ABC Limited, which is a company. So parent of the reporting entity is also the related party, and by virtue of that, CFO of the PQR or any KMP of the PQR will also be the related party for ABC. Is this clear? So under IGAP, key managerial person of the holding company were not considered as the related parties for the subsidiary company, right? But under Ind AS, for any company, the parent's company KMP are also covered as the related party. So that is the difference. So if we are preparing the IGAP financials, then the KMP of the PQR will not be regarded as the related parties in the balance sheet of ABC Limited. But if you are preparing the India's financial for ABC, then the KMP of the PQR will be regarded as the related parties. Is that clear?
Clear, sir.
Right? Any questions? Let me visit the chat box. Right? So the key messaging from this is one difference which we have identified just now. Under IGAP, KMPs of the parent company are not related parties. Under Ind AS, KMPs of the parent company are related parties. Right? So that you can note down somewhere if you are taking some important points noted. Okay. Now let's go back. So I was talking about you know, uh, the related party. Now, related parties are identified basis on key attributes like control, joint control, significant influence, right? So, control is defined by which standard I just mentioned?
More than 50%.
India's 110, right? And joint control is defined by which standard? 111, joint control, right? And SI is defined by which standard? Correct? So anyway, you are going to study these standards in detail, but just for my discussion, for today's discussion, I'll give you brief, right? So whenever we are talking about the control, just think more than 50% stake for the sake of simplicity for today's discussion, although the control definition is much wider as what we used to understand under the IF, right? So that you will cover in detail, right? Under 110. Joint control, where two parties, have exclusive rights to, take the decisions about the relevant activities for a particular company, right? So suppose A Limited and B Limited form a JV, AB Limited, right? So this AB Limited JV, is jointly controlled by A and B. So if A agrees and B doesn't agree, then the decision cannot be taken. If B agrees, A doesn't agree, then the decisions cannot be taken. So both parties have to be agreed for a particular decision. Then only decision about a particular, strategy will be implemented. So it means both A and B have control over ABC Limited's affairs, and hence they are jointly controlling, right? In detail, you will study under triple one, right? And similarly, significant influence is the power to participate. So the keyword is power to participate, not power to direct, right? So if I say power to direct, then that would be something more than the significant influence, right? So significant influence is power to participate. Now, how power to participate is understood? For example, if there are any board meetings and there is a director who is sitting in that board meeting, and he can vote in favor or against for a particular, resolution, then it means he has the power to participate. But he cannot direct that this resolution has to be passed or shouldn't be passed, right? So that authority or the control he doesn't have. He only has the power to cast his vote, right? So that is called the power to participate, right? In any financial or operating policy decisions of the investee, but does not control those policies, right? He has a say but cannot rule, right? He has the say but cannot rule, right? Okay. Now there is one other important definition which either I can cover now or cover later, but prefer to cover now. Government, right? So there are certain special category exemptions and disclosures related to the government transactions. So what government means, that we need to understand first. So government refers to the government agencies, and similar bodies, whether local, national, or international. This is somewhat we heard before, right? Are you able to recall in which standard we have discussed this definition?
Government grants.
Government grants, India's 20. So government means any central government, any state government, any local government, right? Yes or no? Or any international government, right? Correct? Or government agencies. Which are those? NHAI, NHB, right? RBI, SEBI, right? So all these are government agencies or other similar bodies, right? So government related entity. Now, there are two scenarios. Suppose ABC Limited is the company. ABC Limited is the company. It is having a transaction with the government, right? For example, the central government, the state government. Then I understand that because the transaction is directly with the government or the government agency, right? So there might be possibility of certain exemptions or to disclosures, right? But what if the ABC Limited is doing a transaction, suppose with a company, for example, ONGC, right? ONGC is a PSU, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Undertaking, government owned, right? Now, standard says the transactions with the government as well as the government related entities needs to be seen with a special lens, right? So if the transactions are ABC is preparing, sorry, give me a second, please. I think slider is stuck. Okay. Screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Visual.
Okay. Sorry, my laptop got hanged actually. Okay, so what I was talking about, suppose there is a company ABC Limited, right? And it is doing a transaction, say, with the government, right? Suppose the state government or central government, whatever, and it is doing a transaction with any government owned company, right? For example, ONGC, right? Now, standard is covering both, right? From the special lenses. So the transactions with the government as well as the transaction with the government owned entities. So that's why standard is defining both what the government means and what the government related entity means. So government means any government agency or similar bodies, local, national or international, right? I have already discussed. And what the government related entity is an entity that is controlled, jointly controlled, or significantly influenced by the government, right? So if government has a controlling stake in the ONGC, then it is a government related entity. If the government has a joint control on the ONGC with other owners as well, then also ONGC will be covered within this definition. And if the government has, say, 20% or 21% stake in the ONGC and rest all the stake it's sitting with larger public or other investors, then also government has a significant influence over the entity, and hence it will be covered in this definition, right? And now what are the special disclosures and exemptions that we will cover later, but for the understanding, these are the two categories of special parties with which there would be a certain set of special exemptions and disclosures required, right? Okay. So now we will identify the related parties, right? So related party, a person or close member of that person's family, right, who has the control, joint control over the reporting entity. This we already discussed, has a significant influence over the reporting entity, or is the KMP of the entity or the KMP of the parent, right? This we have already discussed. But within this definition, there is one more word, a person or a close member of that person's family, right? So either the Mr. X or a close member of Mr. X family, right? Now, who all those close members are covered, right? Close members of the family of a person are the one who may be expected to influence or be influenced by that person in their dealings with the entity. It includes Mr. X children, Mr. X wife, that is Mrs. X, right? Or apart from wife, is there, if there is any other domestic partner Mr. X has, right? For example, MSZ, right? So that is also covered. Then the brother of Mr. X, then the sister of Mr. X, father of Mr. X, and the mother of Mr. X, right? So except this was there in IGAP, 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 right? This was there in IGAP, and this was also there in IGAP, right? So mother, father, brother, sister, spouse, children, right? So those all are same. One another person is added is the domestic partner, right? So domestic partner, basically, any other extramarital relationships the Mr. X is carrying, or without marriage, if Mr. X doesn't have wife, but he has some domestic partner, then that domestic partner who has not yet married, right? So that is covered also as a related party. Then children of that person's spouse or the domestic partner, right? So if Mr. X is having a children with the spouse, those are anyway covered. There is no doubt, right? Here it is. And children with that domestic partner as well, right? Or if the domestic partner also has children with somebody else apart from Mr. X, then the children of that domestic partner is also covered, because domestic partner and their children is covered. So domestic partner and their children with Mr. X or their children with somebody else, right? Because being covered, they are covered, right? Then dependents of that person or that person's spouse or the domestic partner, right? So who are the dependents of the person's spouse? Father-in-law, mother-in-law. And similarly, equally, this is applicable for the domestic partner. Is that clear? So
Yes,
these
sir.
are the relationships an individual can carry, right? And if any of these people are there in his family, right, then all those people are defined within the definition of close member, right, of that person, right? Close members of family of that person. And because the standard says who is the related party, the person himself as well as all these close members, right? So the person himself as well as all these close members are related parties, provided these conditions are satisfied, right? So if Mr. X has control or joint control or as SI or is a KMP of the entity or the parent, then this condition is satisfied, and in that case, person along with close member is a related party, right? Let's do this example. Mr. A holds 51% in equity shares of A Limited. A Limited has no other form of the share capital. As Mr. A controls A Limited, he is a related party. Yes or no? Yes,
Yes,
because
sir.
he's controlling A Limited. Then Mrs. A is the wife of Mr. A. Will also be related party of A Limited.
Yes, sir. Close person.
Yes, close person. Then Mr. A suppose has brother B is covered, yes or no? Covered. Sister S covered, yes or no? E covered. Father F covered, yes or no? Covered. Mother M covered, yes or no? Covered, right? Or any of the domestic partner, right? Then children with the spouse, right? As well as with the domestic partner are covered, right? Then father-in-law, mother-in-law with the spouse, and father-in-law and mother-in-law with the domestic partner are also covered if they are dependent, right? Right? So that is the keyword, dependence, right? If they are not dependent, then not, right? So dependency has to be established. Now, another example, Mr. D is a director of H Limited, being a member of the KMP of H Limited. He is related to H Limited, yes or no?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, because he is a KMP, key managerial person, and then S Limited is a subsidiary of H Limited. So Mr. D is related to S Limited also.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, that's what we have understood. That is the difference from ICAI. Suppose this is a holding company and it is a subsidiary company, right? And subsidiaries company has a CFO or director, say Mr. X, right? Then Mr. X is a CFO of S1. Related, yes or no?
Yes, sir. Related.
Mr. X is related to the holding, yes or no?
Yes.
I think no. Sir.
No, it is other way around. So suppose Mr. Y is the CFO or director, whoever, right? Or the KMP of H. Then Mr. Y is related to H, yes or no?
Yes, sir. Then he is related to H and also S and other.
Yes. And here also Mr. Y is related party, right? But KMP of the subsidiary is not related to the KMP of the parent. KMP of the parent is related to the KMP of the subsidiary. Please make a note of it, right?
Yes,
So that
sir.
is the important aspect. So standard is saying KMP of the parent. Standard is not using the word KMP of the subsidiary or KMP of the associate or KMP of the JV. The only word standard is using
Significant influence.
parent,
Blind control,
right?
control, significant influence.
KMP of the parent, right? So KMP of the parent is covered, but KMP of the subsidiary is not covered, right? Is that clear?
Clear.
Okay. Let's do this. Whether A Limited and B Limited are related to each other. So Mr. X has investment in entity A and Miss Y has investment in entity B and Miss Y is a domestic partner of Mr. X. So what do you think? A Limited and B Limited are related to each other? Yes, no?
Domestic partner is included. So Mr. and
Domestic
Mr. X and
partner is
Mr. Y.
included.
Yes, X and Y
Now,
are related.
Mr. X has investment in A, right? So when investment word is written, what does it mean? Does it mean control? No. Does it mean
No.
joint control? No. Does it mean significant influence? Yes. So here it is SI. Here also it is SI, right? Now the question is whether A and B are related to each other. The answer is no. Why? Because neither the X is controlling A nor the Y is controlling B, right? So neither the A is being controlled by X, neither nor the Y is being controlled by Y, right? So they only have a SI in those entities. And just by virtue of Mr. X and Miss Y being a domestic partner, right? A and B cannot be related because neither A nor B is controlled by any of them, right? So maybe we will understand it better with once we are done with these clauses, right? So let's discuss all the clauses which defines all the relationships, and then we will do a lot of practical cases again. Okay, first clause of the relationship: the entity and the reporting entity are members of the same group, which means that each parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to others. For example, SA Limited and SB Limited are subsidiaries of H Limited, right? So H is the ultimate holding company and it has two subsidiaries, SA and SB, right? SA and SB are the subsidiaries of H Limited. Now, what do you think? For H, SA and SB is related?
Yes, sir.
For SA, H and SB both are related?
Yes, sir.
For SB, H and SA are related?
Sir, S.
So for H, SA and SB are related. For SA, H and SB are related. And for SB, H and SA are related. Are these correct?
Sir, I think first one is correct, and in second and third one, only H may be related, not SB and SC.
Why?
Sir, here all are related, sir.
SB and SA have don't any control on SB, and SB have don't any control on SA. The only control is that the KMP are the person who is sitting on that.
Okay, then let's read the clause again. The entity and the reporting entity are members of the same group, which means that each parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to each other. So members of the same group are related to each other. So within this group, SA and SB are fellow subsidiaries or the members of the same group, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's why the clause is very clearly calling it as a related. So this clause is saying SA, SB and H are related to each other.
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Clear, sir. Clear.
So it is not always about the control joint control. So control joint control is although considered here as well, but that is hidden. How? H is controlling SA, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
H is controlling SB, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So by virtue of having this control, SA and SB are related to H,
Yes, sir. Yes.
right? Now, by virtue of this clause, which when it says the entity and the reporting entity are members of the same group, which means each parent, each subsidiary, each fellow subsidiary is related to each other. Now, when the standard is explicitly calling these parties as related, then why we are checking out control here? That SA is not controlling SB and SB is not controlling SA. No point to check the control when the clause is clearly saying that subsidiaries and fellow subsidiaries are related to each other. Clear?
Yes, sir. In curiosity,
Okay.
I want to ask if think SA have another subsidiary, then will it be an
Of course,
related?
yes. Suppose if SA also has a subsidiary, say XY, and SB also has a subsidiary, say YZ, then these companies are fellow subsidiaries, yes or no, of the same group? Yes. So these are also related to all others. So XY is related to SAHSB, YZ is related to HSASB, and XY and YZ are related to each other as well because they are fellow subsidiaries within the same group, right? So, okay, so let me say this other way around. So first of all, we look at the control, joint control and the SI, right? So prima facie, our duty is to look at the control. Control is satisfied, related party established. Joint control satisfied, related party established. SI is established, related party identified. Correct? So that is the core principle. Control, joint control and the SI. Now, on the top of that, there are certain additional clauses which defines a specific relationship to be covered over and above to that. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now here, in this case, although SA is not controlling SB or SB is not controlling SA, but they are commonly controlled by H. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So by virtue of the main principle of the control, H controls SA and SB. Yes. So H controls SA, so related. H controls SB, so related. So SA and H are related to each other. H and SB are related to each other. That is done. Now, basis on this clause says that subsidiaries within the same group are related to each other. So SA and SB are related to each other. Yes. Then the standard says fellow subsidiaries within the same group are also related to each other. Then XY is related to all. XZ is also related to, because XY and XZ are also related fellow subsidiaries within the same group. Correct?
Right, sir. Sir,
So
within
is
the
there any
group,
limitation? Is there any limitation to the
No limitation.
what
So
levels?
as long as there is a chain of subsidiaries, all are related.
Okay.
sir, which means the holding company, any type of any level of subsidiary is there in the group. It all together it is a related party.
Yes. So all the
As far as the subsidiary is concerned,
Okay.
the joint,
I'm coming. Direct subsidiaries related. Indirect subsidiaries, that is subsidiaries of subsidiaries related. No exception, right? All subsidiaries, even 100 subsidiaries also related. Is that clear?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, question comes, suppose what if in this group there is a associate as well, right? Or if in this group there is a JV as well. Possible, not possible?
Yes, sir, possible.
Possible. Then possibility associate has a subsidiary.
Yes, sir.
Possibility JV has a subsidiary.
Yes.
Right now, what to do about these subsidiaries? So there are more clauses. Once we are done with all the clauses, we will be sorted. Now, second clause. One entity is an associate or JV of the other entity, or an associate or joint venture of another member of the group of which the entity is a member. So let's understand. Suppose AS Limited is an associate of S1. So S1 is a subsidiary and AS is the associate. Clear? Correct? S1 is a subsidiary of H Limited, right? And S2 is another subsidiary of H Limited, right? So this is again sub, and this is also sub, right? Of H Limited. Now, AS Limited and S2 Limited are related parties. So AS Limited and S2 Limited are related parties to each other. That is this clause is saying. Now let's apply our rule book. The rule book control. Who is controlling whom? H Limited is controlling S1 related party.
Yes, sir.
H is controlling S2 related party.
Yes, sir.
S1 and S2 are related to each other by virtue of which clause? Clause 1.
Class A.
Clause A, right? So clause A says S1 and S2 are related to each other. Now, clause B says if subsidiary has an associate, then this associate is also related to this group. So associate AS is a related party for S2. Associate is a related party for H, and associate is a related party for S1. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? So this is the clause B. Then we will read the clause C. Both entities are joint venturers of the same third party. What does it mean? It means H Limited has entered into two joint ventures. JV1, JV2. It is JHA and it is JHB. Right? So there are two joint ventures which H holds. Right? Now, because H is the common joint venturer, who are the other joint venturer? Suppose there is a Limited. So A Limited and H Limited formed the JHA, and there is a B Limited. So B Limited and H Limited formed the JHB. Right? Now, because JHA and JHB has a common joint venture H, then clause says JHA is related to JHB and JHB is related to JHA. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, whether the now JH and JHB is related, whether A, B, and H is also related?
So we are coming. There are more clauses. So let me done with all the clauses, and then we will do doubts handling, right? And then we will do the practicals as well. A lot of practicals I have, right? So let's first complete what the core clause is saying. So apart from core clause, what all relationships we are doubting upon, right? We will discuss. So first of all, you need to understand if there is a common joint controller. Who is the joint controller here? H. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. H is a joint controller.
Right. So H is the joint controller. So because the joint controller is common, so JHA and JHB are related to each other.
Each other.
Perfect. Let's come to another clause. One entity is a joint venture of the third entity, and other entity is an associate of the third entity. So what does it mean? Suppose there is a H Limited. H Limited has a JV, right? JH Limited. Okay. And H Limited has an associate, AH Limited. Right? Then JH and AH are related parties, yes or no, to each other?
Yes, sir. As per this clause D is yes.
As per this clause D is yes, right? If the clause D is not there, then certainly this relationship will be difficult to establish, right? Because neither the JH controls AH, nor the AH controls JH, nor the JH has joint control over AH, nor the AH has joint control over JH, and neither they do have the SI. So in the absence of control, joint control and SI, the parties will not be related, correct? But by virtue of this clause, this additional relationship got covered within the definition of the related parties. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So here in this case, what is happening? H is controlling JV, matlab joint controlling basically. Yes or no? Yes. So related, H and JH are related. H is holding significant influence over AH. So by virtue of SI clause, H and AH are related, right? But by virtue of this additional clause given by the standard, JH and AH are also related to each other. Correct?
Correct.
Clause E. And these are strictly in order of the India's Bayer Act, right? So all the clauses I'm discussing are strictly in order of the Bayer Act as well, right? the entity is a post-employment benefit plan for the benefit of the employees of either the reporting entity or an related an entity related to the reporting entity. If the reporting entity is itself such a plan, the sponsoring employers are also related to the reporting entity. Now, have you ever seen any India's financials by any chance until now? Published
Yes, sir.
annual
Yes.
reports of any
Yes, sir.
companies? So, did you notice that in those India's financial statements, in the related party disclosures, some, post-employment benefit plans, for example, gratuity plans, right? Or, retirement plans, right? Or ESOP plans are covered as the related party transactions, related parties basically. Have you ever noticed?
Yes, sir. In the
So,
separate disclosure, it is given there.
yeah, right. So, company has set up any post-employment benefit plans for its own employees or for the employees of its subsidiaries, JVs, or associates, right? Or any of the related party of the entity. Then that particular gratuity plan or retirement plan or the ESOP or the provident fund, right, pension fund, whatever is the nature, which is by which the objective is to give the retirement benefits or post employment benefits to the exiting employees, right, of the entity. So those plans, because they are structured through separate vehicle, right, for example trust, right, or some other SPVs, special purpose vehicle, right? So all these trust and SPVs are working under whose supervision or direction? The company itself,
Yes.
right? So whatever the transactions they are doing are being directed by the company itself, right? Because what is happening? Company has set up the trust, but who is appointing the trustees? The company itself, right? And those trustees, in conjunction with the management of the company, are taking all the day-to-day and strategic decisions for all those pension plans, etc. Right? So these trust and SPVs are also covered as the related parties of the company. Right? Now, what is the objective the standard is trying to achieve here by doing so? So in IGAP, have you ever seen these trust and SPVs are considered in the related party disclosures? No.
No.
Right? So we haven't ever covered them. But under India's, they are covering. Why? For the purpose of ensuring that users will come to know, apart from the entity, apart from the subsidiary, apart from the JV, apart from the associate, which other special purpose vehicle or trust are established by the company in which certain transactions can happen. So at least cover those as well here, so that investor will see the transactions these trust SPVs are undertaking from the standpoint of knowing a completeness of all the transactions, right? Clear?
Clear. Clear.
So whatever these trust or SPVs are established, they are being covered, right? Clause F. The entity is controlled or jointly controlled by a person identified in section 1 above. Who was the section 1? The individual, right? First of all, we discussed the individual, then we started discussing the body corporate relationships, right? So there are two types of relationships: the individual relationship, that is the person is there, or the other entity or body corporate is there, right? So one is for the individual. So Mr. A controls A Limited. So A Limited is a company, right? And Mr. A is controlling, right? He also controls B Limited, right? Now, Mr. A is a related party to A Limited, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Why? Because control is there. Mr. A is related party to B Limited because control is there. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But whether A and B are related to each other
Yes, sir. Because of this clause F.
because of this clause F. If this clause F was not there, then A or B will not be related, because neither the A is controlling B or joint controlling or SIB, nor the B controlling, joint controlling, or SIA, correct? So prima facie, first of all, you need to, divide all the relationships into two categories. Number one, driven by individual. Number two, driven by body corporate, right? So driven by individual, we have a separate discussion. Individual and close members of that family are related, right? Driven by body corporate are governed by three definitions: control, joint control, and SI, right? And then there are additional clauses, right? So those additional clauses are filling the gaps which are not covered by the three definitions: control, joint control, and the SI, right? So nobody can abuse the definition of the relationship solely identified basis on these three definitions. That's why these additional clauses are there, so that they are catering to those relationships which are not covered within the three definitions: control, joint control, or SI. Is that clear? So these additional clauses are bringing up more relationships into the coverage of the related parties over and above what used to be, driven by the three definitions. Correct?
I think it covers everything.
Yep. No, it doesn't cover everything. So we will speak about what all is not covered as well. So that also standard discusses. A person identified in 1A above has a significant influence over the entity or is a member of the KMP of the other entity or of the parent of the entity, right? So this is the clause G. Now let's understand. Suppose there is A Limited, right? And Mr. A is controlling A Limited, right? He is also a non-executive director. Non-executive director in B Limited, right? Then A and B are related to each other. That's the clause is saying. Now, let's apply our rule book. Mr. A is a related party for A Limited, yes or no?
Due to control, yes.
Due to control, yes. Because Mr. A is controlling A Limited, so for A Limited, Mr. A is a related party. For B Limited, Mr. A is a KMP, non-executive director. Related, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So for B Limited, Mr. A is also a related party. Now, by virtue of Mr. A being common, at one side controlling the company, on another side KMP of the company, A and B are related by virtue of clause
G.
G. So clause G is saying if the same person is either controlling of the other entity, right? Or same person is the KMP of the another entity, then these two entities are related to each other. Clear? Clause H. The entity or any member of a group of which it is part provides KMP services to the reporting entity or to the parent of the reporting entity. So the issue is with the, Barak language. So when we read the core language, it is very difficult to understand what the standard is intending, right? But when we are clear on our hierarchy and charts, so just try to, draft the charts for these clauses, which I'm drafting in discussion as well, at your end as well, for easy and quick reference. Because in the examination days, if you are going to read this para, right, it will not help, right? So you have to be ready with the charts for your revision. So clause H chart, clause G chart, clause E chart, clause F chart, right? So those charts are there, and try to have a look at those charts, frequently, say every 15 days, every month, right? So those charts will get established in your brain, and it will always stay there in the examination. So if in the examination there is a question with, certain ifs and buts, right? So you will simply follow the chart and you will be able to tackle the relationships, right? So that is the strategy to master this standard. A Limited is a parent company with three subsidiaries: company B, company C, and company D. So A Limited has a three subsidiaries, right? B, C, and D. It also has an associate E, right? Correct. Subsidiary F, it also has an associate E Limited, and subsidiary F Limited of E Limited provides KMP. So E Limited has a subsidiary F, right? So F is the subsidiary of which company? E. E is the associate of A, correct? So that's the structure. Now this F Limited is providing the KMP services to A Limited, right? This providing the KMP services to A Limited, the parent company. Now, in this, if this clause is not there, right, which all parties are related to each other?
No.
No parties are related to each other.
No, yes, they are related.
So
Not
which all
just
parties? So for A,
B,
okay.
B, C, D.
So let's establish. For A, which all related? B, C, D,
D,
E and E.
and E. Correct? B, C, D, and E are related? Yes, or no?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Then for B, which all related?
C, D,
A, C, D, correct? And
yes, sir.
E,
And E as well.
right? Because E is the associate within the group, right? Then for C, again the same, A,
Same.
B,
C,
D,
D,
and E, right?
E.
And then for D as well, the same, right? Now, this F Limited is not considered as the related party. Why? Because this is not the fellow subsidiary. Why? Because this is the subsidiary of an associate. So
Associate.
subsidiary of an associate is not the fellow subsidiary, correct? So fellow subsidiary is the subsidiary of the subsidiary or subsidiary of the parent, correct? Or any other step down subsidiary of any other step down subsidiaries. But the chain breaks as long as the associate comes into play, and then further downward companies are the subsidiaries of the associates. There the chain is break. Is that clear? But by virtue of this clause H, right, it says if any other company which is related to the associate, right? Now F is related to the associate E, yes or no? Yes or no? F is related to E, yes or no?
Yes, sir. Because of E is the subsidiary of F. Definitely.
E is the parent of
They
the
are
F,
each,
right? Correct. So because E is the parent of F, so E and F are related to each other, parent subsidiary relationship, right? But by virtue of this clause, F is also related to A, B, C, D. Why? Because this clause is saying if any entity or any member of the group of which it is a part provides KMP to the reporting entity or any parent of the reporting entity, right? So, which is the reporting entity? In this case, for example, B, and F is providing the KMP to A. So, A is the parent for B, yes or no? Yes. So,
yes, sir.
F is providing the KMP services to A Limited, the parent, or suppose it provides the KMP services to B Limited, right? Even then, all these are related to each other. So for F, it will be related to A, B, C, D, and E. So E, to anyway, it is related because it is a subsidiary of E. But for A, B, C, D, it was not related by virtue of the subsidiary chain broken. Now it is related because of this special clause H, because F is providing the KMP services. Now, another doubt coming in mind, How
Yes, sir.
come how come F is providing the KMP service, right?
That is one question from your side. Not that question. My question is different, sir. Actually, we studied earlier that the parent, if they're providing KMP service to the subsidiary company, in that case, all of them is a related party. But if the subsidiary is providing the KMP services, in that cases, it is not related party. Like that, some provision read it, right?
If instead of F, suppose F is not there, right? And E provides the KMP service, right? So then this clause is anyway redundant because E is by default otherwise is also related, correct?
Yes.
Being an associate. So this clause actually is not required, right, to cover E. Then if B is providing KMP service, then again this clause is redundant because B is anyway related whether to provide KMP or not because it is a subsidiary of A. Yes or no? So all those companies which are already covered within the relationships by virtue of the control, joint control or SI or other previous clauses, right, has nothing to do with this clause H. Correct? At least we are on same page until now.
Sir,
Now,
okay, sir, until now, okay, sir. Now that we under in the definition is a member of the key management person of the reporting entity or a parent of the reporting entity. Only the parent of the reporting entity we studied, right? I'm having a little bit confusion over there.
Okay, let me read the paragraph. The entity or any member of the group, right, of which it is a part, provides KMP personal services to the reporting entity. Reporting entity means the entity who is preparing the India's financial or the parent of the reporting entity, right? So if B is the reporting entity, right, and KMP services is being provided to B, then B and F are related, yes or no? Yes. And if A is the parent entity of B, B is the reporting entity, and KMP services provided to A, even in that case, B and F are related because F is providing KMP to the parent of B. So either it provides the KMP to the reporting entity itself, that is the B, or if it provides the KMP service to the parent of the reporting entity, that is A, again, B and F are related. That's what the standard is intending to say. So what I'm saying here, in the absence of clause H, right, A, B, C, D, and E are related to each other, correct?
Right, sir.
Right? F is related to E only, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? Until then it is clear. Now, by virtue of clause H says if any other entity within the group, right, provides the KMP to any of the company or the parent of the company, then that entity also is a related party, right? So F has, by virtue of providing the KMP to A, F is becoming related to A, B, C, and D as well, which otherwise it was not, and it was anyway related to E by virtue of being subsidiary. So for E there is no question, but for A, B, C, and D, it has now become relative because it is providing the KMP either to the reporting entity itself or to the parent of the reporting entity. Correct?
So what is exactly providing key management personal
Now I'm coming to
services?
that. So sometimes it happens, companies generally hire, professional consultants, right? So there are various consulting firms, business consulting firms in the market, right? And those, consulting firms provide strategic decision making assistance to the management or, the CFO, CEOs. So instead of hiring a full-time employed KMP, companies generally outsource as well to some of the, professional firms or consulting firms in the market, business consulting firms, right? Suppose F is into that consulting business, right? Now, F, by virtue of having a consulting business, right, can provide the consulting services to any company, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So if F is providing those services to say uh, any company, for example, say uh, D Limited in this case, right? So you will say because F is providing these services to various other companies as well, and it is providing to D as well, then what's the difference? This is all a normal transaction for F. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. But generally, what happens, F is not supplying any goods, right, to D Limited, for which price can be established. Yes or no?
Right.
Right? F is doing what? Just giving an advice, piece of advice. Yes or no?
Yes.
That piece of advice can be measurable easily. No, because there is no standard pricing available in the market for any piece of advices. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
It all depends between the negotiating parties. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because it is depending on the parties to negotiate. You are taking advice from your brother and you are happily paying 1 crore. If you would have taken the same advice from some of your friend, you would have happily paid say 50 lakhs, right? And if you would have taken this advice, same advice, from somebody altogether unrelated, you would hardly be paying say 1 lakh, for example, for the same piece of advice. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Now, to unnecessarily impact the profitability or costing for any of the reporting entity, those reporting entities can try to find some other related companies, so that they can give advice on paper. They print out, sign it, deliver it, and charge $50 million, right? So $50 million transaction simply is $50 million is going away from the books of A Limited to F Limited. Yes or no? For a
Yes.
simple piece of advice. Now, to govern this within the related party transaction coverage, this clause is inserted so that unnecessarily outflows in the name of taking consulting, in the name of taking advices which might not be relevant for the business, right? So there wouldn't be unnecessarily cash outflows in the form of legal expenses, because this is a legal expense. F is generating a invoice, charging GST, handing it over to A is paying off. Yes or no? So if this transaction is not covered within the related parties, then this would be a skip of information, useful information for the users of the financial statement. Yes or no? Right? So that's the objective of this standard, to bring in that if anybody is providing the KMP service, right, to any of the parent or the reporting entity, then that party is also related, and hence whatever the services you are taking, you need to disclose. Whatever you are paying them off, you need to disclose, and whatever is the outstanding balance, you need to disclose. Is that clear?
Clear, but there could be many other services other than KMP services. So
So
that would also be covered.
no, standard covers KMP, right? So whatever the KMP services are there will be covered here, right? Clear?
Clear.
Okay. Let's do this question. R Limited has an associate B Limited. B Limited has a subsidiary S Limited. Joint venture J Limited has an associate A Limited. R Limited is the reporting entity. Identify the related parties for R Limited. So I'm just drawing a chart for your convenience and you will answer me. Okay. So R Limited has an associate B Limited. B is associate. Okay. And B Limited has a subsidiary S Limited. Okay. This is the subsidiary. A joint venture J Limited. So B also has a J Limited as joint venture, JV, right? And an associate A Limited. So B Limited also has an associate A Limited, right? So A is the associate. Okay. R Limited is the reporting entities. That is India's financial. R Limited is preparing. Identify the related parties. Yes.
All, sir. A, B, J.
All. Okay, so let's apply our rule book. What is the rule book? Is there any control? No. Right? R limited is not controlling B. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So control is not there. R limited is controlling joint controlling B.
No.
No. R limited is having a significant influence on B.
Yes.
So B limited is the related party. Right?
Yes.
Right? By virtue of SI. Correct?
Yes.
Now, associate has a subsidiary S limited. S limited is the related party for R, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because of the subsidiary.
Because it is a subsidiary of a significantly influenced entity. So R limited has a significant influence over B. So B subsidiary is also covered.
Yes.
Okay. So you will say S limited because the subsidiary of associate, right? Okay. What about J limited, which is a JV of associate?
JV also will be covered.
JV also covered. So you are saying J is also covered because this is a JV of associate. Okay. Then what about A?
A will not be covered, sir. Associate of associate is not covered.
So A will not be covered because associate of associate is not covered. That's what is the answer. Any other contradictory answer or any other thoughts?
Sir, in that way, the associates JV is also not covered. As associates of associate, then associates of joint venture is also not covered.
Okay. So you are saying if associate of associate is not covered, then why JV of associate is covered, right? So this is also not covered. What about subsidiary?
Subsidiaries are covered, sir.
Achha. So one answer is subsidiary JV is covered, but not the associate. Another answer is subsidiary is covered, JV is not covered, associate is not covered. Anybody for subsidiary now? So for subsidiary, everybody is agreeing कि subsidiary तो चलो cover कर लेते हैं.
Yes, sir. Associates are two subsidiaries covered.
Okay. R limited identifies B limited and S limited as its related parties. So B limited is anyway associate and S limited is the subsidiary, right? J limited and A limited are not related parties of R limited. Why? Because S limited, the associate is not controlling J, right? So J is being jointly controlled, right? And A is also not controlled. So neither the control exists here, right? Nor the control exists here, right? So unless and until associate controls somebody, right, that will not be covered, right? So for R limited, B limited is the associate covered and the subsidiary S limited is also covered, correct? So control of controlled entity of associate has is covered, right? So whatever we have discussed until now is summarized in this single slide, right? For all the relationships for your quick reference in your examination days. And certainly you will be, drawing the charts for your revision. Now we will do some practicals to whatever we have learned until now to apply that concept, right? So there are a lot of questions now, which we will do. And you are going to answer me with the relationships, right? So that we practice all these clauses, right? Now, in this case, parent is the P, subsidiary is S1, associate is A1, joint control is J1. Now, S1 is the related party. Why? Because direct control. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, subsidiary.
Associate is the related party because SI, and J is the related party J1 because of joint control. So ये तो हमारी तीन definition है ही clear. Whatever the three definitions we have discussed, the control, the joint control, and the SI. right? So these are the three ones. So
Yes, sir.
S1, A1, J1 are entities under the common control of the parent P, and hence they are related, right, to P. Indirect control method. P has a subsidiary S1, S1 has a subsidiary S2, step down. S2 is direct related to P, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Related.
sir.
Subsidiary, F subsidiary, all are covered.
Yeah, indirect control.
Indirect control, right? Now, associate has a related party, A1 is a related party to S1 in the financial statements of S1 and vice versa. Indirect control. Why? Because P Limited is having a SI, right? And P Limited is controlling the S1. So S1 is controlled by P and A1 is significantly influenced. So A1 and S1 and A1 are related to each other.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts on this? Both are related to each other because subsidiary is related to associate and vice versa. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Because of P, controlling S1 and P significantly influencing A1, correct? Now, A1 and A2 are related to each other, yes or no?
No, sir.
No. Why?
No control between them.
Because neither the A1 is controlled by P nor the A2 is controlled by P. So A1 is related to P, A2 is related to P, P is related to A1, P is related to A2. But A1 and A2 are not related to each other. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is for you. Examine the related party relationships of various entities. So what you need to do, you will say for P who all are related, for SA who all are related, for SB who all are related, for A1 who are all related, for A2 who all are related, and for SC who all are related, and for A3 who all are related. So you simply note down the names of the relationships, and I am giving you 1 minute time. Okay. Done with? You noted down your answer? Yes, no? So for P Limited, SA, SB, SC, A1, A2, A3, all are related. Is your answer correct?
Yes, sir. This is correct.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
correct. For SA, P, anyway, parent is always related. Then fellow subsidiary, SBSC, and then associates A1, A2, A3 are related. Correct?
But here A1 and A2, how?
A1, A2, A2 are the associates of associates. Basically, A1 and A2 are the associates.
Associate of associate. That parent has the associate directly. Then
So parent is having the subsidiary SA and SB, and parent is having the associates A1 and A2, right?
oh, okay. Which means the direct associate. A1 is a parent direct associate. A2 also direct associate. I thought that associate is there, then followed by A1 and A2. There are totally 3 associate.
Yeah.
My understanding is incorrect then.
Okay.
Sir, why, how, and A3 is associate 3 is related?
A3 basically, A3 is the associate of a subsidiary of a subsidiary, right? So chain is broken at subsidiary of subsidiary level, right? For subsidiaries associate, A3 is not related to the upward chain. So here is the answer for A1, A2 and A3 are not related to each other.
Okay, means subsidiary to associate is in the same chain, but subsidiary to subsidiary is not in the same chain.
Correct. So subsidiary to associate related, subsidiary to associate to subsidiary, and then anything further down is not related.
Okay.
Correct? Then similarly for SB, the same thing, and SC, the same thing. Because SA and SB and SC are nowhere different to each other, right? They are all fellow subsidiaries. Then for the A1, A2 and A3, only P, the parent is related and the subsidiaries are related, SB, SC and SC, correct? But A1 associate, A2 associate and A3 associate are not related to each other, right? Now, because parent is the P, so P is preparing 2 financials. One is the SFS, another is the CFS, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So in the separate, all these are related parties, which we have identified in the number 1, right? But in the consolidated, all the subsidiaries will be eliminated, consolidated and eliminated all the transactions, correct? Because subsidiaries are consolidated and consolidated financials, there is no further transaction with the subsidiaries, right? Because now this is a one legal entity. Then only related parties left over are associates for the parent P. So A1 and A2, A3 are the related parties in the group. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Do this one. Whether A Limited is a related party to C Limited. You just simply need to say yes or no.
Sir, here who is providing KMP services? C or X, sir?
Who is?
Who is providing KMP service? C or X?
So Mr. X has 100% investment in A and Mr. X is the KMP of C.
Okay.
And B has 100% investment in C. The question is whether A Limited and C Limited are related to each other.
They are related to each other.
Yes, sir. They are related. Because
as
the
a
C limited KMP, they are sharing with the
Perfect.
others.
Perfect. This one?
yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Unanimous? Unanimous?
Hmm.
Perfect. This one?
Done, na, sir. This one the same, na, whether age related, you know.
Here the only change is the joint control. A is
Yeah.
joint control. That is only
Yeah.
changes on the existing question.
Yeah. So what do you think now?
Now when it's joint control, there is a less chance that this is to be. No, sir, they are not controlled to each other, sir. Not related.
Joint control.
Yes, it is more than 50%.
No. Joint control. It is not about more than 50%. Joint cannot be more than 50%
More than
anyway, right?
it's
It could be
It,
maximum 50. It could be maximum 50 because if it is more than 50, then it is not joint. It is control,
controlled.
right?
Yes.
Right. Now here, Mr. X has a joint control over A. So in nutshell, Mr. X has something more than SI. Yes or no on A,
yes, sir.
and it has SI on C. Yes,
Yes, sir.
because KMP is SI. Yes or no? KMP is SI. Correct. So Mr. X is a KMP and Mr. X is a joint controller. So A and C are related. Why? Because Mr. X can influence C Limited to, do some favorable, unfavorable transactions with A Limited, right? And vice
Yes.
versa. What is your answer in this case?
Now it will change, sir, because it has a significant influence.
Right. Now, in this case, what is happening? Neither the Mr. X is controlling or joint controlling A, right? Nor the Mr. X is controlling or joint controlling C. So nowhere control or joint control exists at both the places. Either the significant influence or the KMP relation is there, right? So merely because of significant influence, Mr. X cannot direct A Limited to undertake any transactions with C Limited and vice versa. Because it cannot direct now, right? So there is a no relationship between A and C. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. I think some background noise is coming from somebody's end. If they can mute, please. Right? So what is the key learning in these four examples? Number one, control was there at one side, KMP was there at another side. Right? Same goes in this question, right? Then joint control was there on one side, KMP was there on another side. But in this case, SI on one side and KMP on another side. That's why it is not
Related.
related because this is not controlled, right? So that is the key learning. Now, apart from defining which all parties are related, standard also defines which are not related explicitly so that we don't confuse and unnecessarily include them. But that I will pick up after the break. Let's have a 5 minutes quick break. It's 8:55. We will be back by 9, right? Break started. By now we have understood which all parties are related parties, right? Now we need to understand which all are not related parties. So standard is, explicitly giving few parties in this bucket as well, right? So standard says two entities are not related parties simply because they have a director or other KMP in common, right? So if Mr. A is a director in X Limited and is also a director in Y Limited, then X or Y are not related parties, right? Just by virtue of a common director, two companies cannot be related parties. Because if that would be the case, in that case, one person cannot take a directorship in more than one company, right? But practically, this is not the case. Practically, one person can be a director in more than one companies, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir. Up to there is limit is a limited company. Yes, 7 directors like that is the limitation.
Right. So whatever is the limitation, but at least it is more than one, right?
Yes, sir.
So if a person, he is a director only in two companies, and if standard says, oh, you have a common director, so you are related to each other, right? So in that case, there could be many parties become related to each other, right? Which are not otherwise, correct? So standard is just to avoid any confusion or you going overboard and identifying every other company having a common director is a related party. So standard is saying, no, this is not the related party. So don't consider them, right? So common director, by virtue of having a common director, common KMP, two companies are not related, correct? Y Limited purchases the entire production of X Limited. Transaction is always at arm's length. Y and X are related. Yes or no? So, have we read anywhere that if one company is purchasing the entire production of another company, then these are related to each other?
Yes, sir. The
No.
transfer pricing also is associated in the
Right.
basis.
Right? So in this case, also, ideally, Y and X are not related, just by virtue of having a larger portion of the purchase sale. But because this is a entire production being purchased by one single company, so that raises the indication that there could be some sort of relationship. So we need to dig deeper and understand the structure of both these entities, who are the people behind the curtains ultimately controlling these two entities, right? If there is any relationship, right? Are they close members? So all those investigations need to be done. But prima facie, just by virtue of having a significant transaction with some another company, two companies cannot be regarded as the related parties. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. But is as for the transfer pricing, it is a associate party.
As per the
Income tax.
income
Transfer
tax.
pricing. Transfer pricing.
So
100%.
so
That is
income,
different.
correct. So whatever income tax transfer pricing rules are saying, that is that has no uh, uh, say under the India's accounting, right? So India's financials are being prepared in accordance with India's only, right?
Yes, sir.
Two venturers are not related parties simply because they share the joint control over a joint venture. So, for example, JH Limited is an equal joint venture of J and V. So, J is a company, V is a company, and they formed a JV called JV Limited, right? Whether J and V are related to each other. Yes, no?
No, sir.
No. J and JV are related to each other.
J, J is related to JV, but J is not related to V.
JV and V are related to each other. Yes, yes, and no. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Anybody having a doubt on this?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
Clear? Okay. Let me draft it a different way. A Limited is having a JV of AB Limited, and B Limited is another joint venture, right? So this is a JV. And C Limited is another joint venture, and here is AC Limited, a JV, right? Right? This is the structure. Now, in this structure, B and AC JVs are related to each other, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Why? Because this is the clause which we have specifically covered, right? That if there is a person who is common joint venturer in the joint JVs, then those JVs are related to each other. But what we are studying here, two venturers are not related because they share the common joint venture. So J is having a JV with V. So V and JV is related, J and JV is related, but J and V are not related. In this case as well, A and C are not related,
B and A
and
are not.
B and A are not related. Clear? Hai?
Yes, sir.
Providers of finance. Tata company has taken a loan from HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is a related party for Tata.
No, sir. It's an
No, sir.
Correct. So providers of finance are not related. Lenders are not related. Trade unions, public utilities, departments and agencies of the government that does not control, jointly control, or significantly influence the reporting entity are not related, in spite of the fact there are very significant transactions happening with these parties. So irrespective of the fact that transactions are having significant impact on the financial statements, these parties are not related parties unless and until they are specifically covered within the other definitions or clauses which we have studied so far. Correct? Clear?
clear, sir.
Customer, because he's purchasing 90% of our output, supplier because he's supplying 70% of our raw material requirement, franchisor because he's controlling 90 franchises out of the total 100 outlets, or distributor is a related party. No. So just by having a significance of the transaction in terms of volume of any transaction with any of these parties doesn't become related just by virtue of having a significant transaction. Doesn't matter. So customer, supplier, franchisor, distributor, general agent, any other party with which the company is having significant volumes of business, or maybe 100% of the volumes of business, simply by virtue of the economic dependency, these parties are not related parties unless and until we dig deeper and find some other clause becoming triggered. Correct? So let me take an example. A Limited is an auto ancillary of an automobile company. It supplies all its production to the automobile company. Automobile company has no other interest in A Limited. A Limited and automobile company are not related parties, right? So if Maruti is purchasing, say, all of its tires from Apollo Tires, then whether Apollo Tires and Maruti is related to each other?
No, sir.
No, right? So this is the summary of what all not related parties we have discussed so far. So all in all, there are 4 clauses which we have already discussed by now. So that is there for your quick handy revision in your examination days. Okay. Now we need to understand the transaction. So by now we have understood the related party. We have understood not the related party. Now we need to understand what sort of transactions are there which are covered within the scope of the related party transaction definition. So the related party transaction is a transfer of resource service, or obligations between the reporting entity, that is the company who is preparing India's financial, correct, and the other party, which is considered as a related party, regardless of whether the price is charged for that transaction or the transaction has occurred for zero cost or zero price, right? For free, complimentary. So even if the transaction is complimentary, the transaction will be related party transaction if it is happening with the related party. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Suppose a holding company is transferring the machinery to subsidiary for a 1 rupee consideration. Whether you will report this transaction in the related party transaction schedule or not?
Yes, sir. We need to report.
We need to report, correct? So irrespective of what the price is charged for the transaction, or even if the no price is charged, even then the transaction will be reported. So if the no price is charged, then how it will be reported? It will be reported by way of note, because you cannot include it at any value. So you will simply say a machinery valued at WDV, right? The on the date of transfer, what was the WDV in the books of the company is transferred to this particular related party at no cost, right? So this is where zero price transactions will be reported. Now, what are the examples? So this definition covers anything and everything happening between the related parties, right? It is not about that purchase, sales, loans, or repayments are covered. Anything, any sort of transaction between the related parties covered by this definition. And these are certain examples, not the exhaustive list, for our easy understanding, right? So there could be purchases and sale of goods, there could be purchase and sale of fixed assets, there could be rendering of any services, there could be lease arrangements, there could be research and development transfers, there could be licensing, purchase and sale, there could be another financing arrangements, loans given, loans taken between the related parties, there could be guarantees and collaterals given, there could be any other commitments to do something for each other in the future, there could be settlement of liabilities on behalf of each other to the third party, and there could be other management contracts for sharing the employees between the related parties, that your CFO provides me the CFO services, my director provides you the directorship services. Okay, this is a deputation of employees contract between the related parties, right? So these are just examples which we generally see in our day-to-day life in the financial statements. Whenever you refer any financial statements, always try to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the related party schedule and understand how the related parties are presented and how the transactions with those related parties are presented, right? So that will actually help you to uplift, your understanding around the disclosure formats and the way the companies are disclosing these transactions, right? In practical life. So now we are clear who are all our related party, who are not, and what do we mean by the related party transaction. So by related party transaction, it could be anything, any transaction, even if the price is charged or not, between the related parties, right? Now, what are the disclosures? Finally, the objective of the standard is to disclose, right? Accounting anyways, not the requirement of this standard. So we are not going to do any accounting, right? Only disclosures. Now, category 1, category 2 are the two categories in which these disclosures are divided by the standard, right? So category 1 disclosures are of those required disclosures of those relationships, even though there are no related party transactions, but related party name and related party relationship needs to be disclosed, right? For example, there is a holding company and there is a subsidiary company S1 and there is a subsidiary company S2, right? With S1, holding company is undertaking 100 crore purchase of goods transaction, but with S2, there is no transaction, right? Now, whether S1 is only required to be disclosed as a related party for H in the books of H, or S2 is also required to be disclosed. What do you think?
So both need to be disclosed, sir.
Both need to be disclosed. Why? Because these are the related parties of H Limited in the form of subsidiaries, and we want to make users of the financial statements knowledgeable about the structure of the group, right? So for H Limited, S1 and S2 both are subsidiaries, even if there are no transactions with any of them, or even if there are transactions, doesn't matter. H Limited has to mandatorily disclose that it has two subsidiaries, S1 and S2, right? And the nature of relationship is the subsidiary, correct? Then category 2 disclosures, required disclosures of relationships and transactions only when there are related party transactions, correct? So this is the second category, right? Now suppose, for example, H Limited is having a CFO, right? And CFO wife, right? Mrs. X, right? Is having a business, right? Say, suppose XY Limited company, right? And this XY Limited company is not doing a transaction with H Limited. Does H Limited needs to disclose the name of XY Limited as a related party?
No, sir, it's not needed. There is no transaction in this case.
Not needed. But if there is a transaction, say of ₹10, disclosure is required or not?
Yes, sir, it is needed.
So, first of all, by this example, two learnings. Number one, disclosure is not dependent on the materiality or immateriality. Is that clear?
Yeah, that is very clear, sir.
That is very clear. Number two, disclosure of all related parties is not required unless and until there is a transaction. That is falling in the category 2, correct? So because this XY Limited, if there is no transaction, H Limited wouldn't have been disclosing the name of XY Limited as a related party, right? Because there is no transaction. But because there is a transaction, this disclosure gets triggered under the category 2, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
sir.
Let's do this one. Disclose the name of its parent and, if different, the ultimate controlling party. It may be noted that ultimate controlling party may be a person. So now we are talking about what? Category 1 disclosures, right? So we will be talking about what all disclosures are required to do for category 1, right? So category 1 are those related parties which are directly controlled or jointly controlled or significantly influenced by the reporting entity. And whenever I say reporting entity means the entity who is preparing the Ind AS financial, right? Now, for category 1, what disclosures are required? Disclose the name of its parent company and, if different, the ultimate controlling party. It may be noted that the ultimate controlling party may be a person. Let's do the example. So, H Limited, S1, S2, S3, and S4, right? So, all these are subsidiaries. So, S1 has a S2 subsidiary, S2 has a S3 subsidiary, S3 has a S4 subsidiary, and H is the ultimate parent of all these subsidiaries. Is the structure clear?
Yes, sir, clear, sir.
Now, for S4, suppose S4 is the reporting entity. Reporting entity means the entity who is preparing the financial statements, for whom we are identifying the related party. For S4, which all related parties are there?
For S4, S3, S2, S1, H, all are related party.
All are related. For S3, same goes, all are related party. For
Yes,
S2,
sir.
all are related party, right? Now, the category 1 disclosure says that it needs to disclose the name of its parent company and, if different, the ultimate controlling party, right? So, for S4, S3, S2, S1 Limited must disclose the name and relationship with S3, S2, and S1 respectively, and with H Limited, right? Same for S3. For S3, S2, S1H, for S2, S1H, for S1H, right? So this is a upward ladder mandate, right? That I need to disclose my parent and, until the ultimate parent, all the intermediary parent companies, right? So this is the category 1 disclosure that is mandatorily required. Then what else is required in category 1? if neither the entity's parent nor the ultimate controlling party produces the CFS available for public use, the name of the next most senior person that does so shall also be disclosed. So within the same example, within the same structure, right? So this is the structure. Now, only S2 and S1 are producing the CFS for public use, right? Then S4 must disclose the name of its relationship with S3, that is its own parent. Then S2, the intervening parent. Then S1, the intervening parent. And then the H. Now, S2 and S1 are only producing the CFS. So S2's name and S1 name has to be mandatorily included in the related party schedule of the S4. And another situation, S3, S2, S1 and H are all producing the CFS. Then S4 must disclose the name and relationship with S3 and H only, right? If all the companies are producing CFS, then its own parent and the ultimate parent name needs to be disclosed mandatorily. So in the category 1 disclosures, what we have understood, category 1 disclosures are the disclosures of those relationships where even if there are no transactions, name of those parties needs to be disclosed. Category 2 disclosures are those relationships which are disclosed only if there are transactions, right? Now, under the category 1, standard says what you need to disclose, the name of your parent company, and if different, the ultimate controlling party, right? So my parent for S4 is S3. For S3, the parent is S2. For S2 is the parent S1. And for S1 is the parent H, right? But for S4, the main parent is S3 and the ultimate parent is H, right? So these are mandatorily required to be disclosed, right? Then the standard says, while preparing the consolidated, so this is for the standalone. Now, while preparing the consolidated, so it might be possible one company in between or other company in between are not preparing the consolidated financial statement. Now, my question to you, whether the consolidated financial statement preparation is mandatory? Yes or no? What do you think? Any guesses?
Sir, could you please repeat the question once again?
Consolidated financial statement preparation is mandatory or not?
Yes, sir. When they use the subsidy, it is mandatory, sir.
So I understand
Yeah.
that 110 is not yet done in this batch, but I was just checking what is the guess.
Sir, only 2 cases the it is not meant optional. When there is a investment company, that is one
Right.
thing. Another one
Right.
is that when the ultimate parent is preparing the intermediate parent, when there is a opinion received from the minority as well as the other holder, the parent company, then that case the consolidation is not needed as per the Ind AS 110, I believe.
Correct. Now, because Ind AS 110 gives one relaxation to skip preparation of consolidated financial statement if 2 conditions are satisfied. Condition number 1, my parent or my any upward ladder, any other parent or the ultimate holding company, right, is preparing the CFS, number 1. Number 2, I have taken approval from all my minority shareholders that I am not going to prepare consolidated financial statements. Are you okay with that? So if all of them says we are okay, and there is no single objection, I am saying, right? No single objection, then I can skip the preparation of CFS. Is that clear? That you will study under 110. But by virtue of those implications, the related party disclosures is also getting impacted. That's why we are talking about this. right? So if the company is preparing CFS, if the ultimate parent company is preparing the CFS, so standard is saying if you are not going to prepare CFS, then you need to disclose what, which parent company is preparing the CFS, which is nearest to you, right? Is your immediate parent is preparing? No. If your second step up parent is preparing? No. So you need to go upward until you find a parent who is preparing the CFS. So you need to disclose the name of that company mandatorily in your RPT disclosures, that this is my related party and this is preparing the CFS, right? That's what the standard is saying. Rest you will understand when you will discuss the 110, because there is a detailed discussion under 110, right? Now, what other disclosure is required by category 1? Disclose the relationships between the parent and its all subsidiaries, right? So I need to disclose two things. Number one, earlier I was talking about my parent and the ultimate parent. Now I'm talking about the downward chain, my all subsidiaries, right? So all subsidiaries needs to be disclosed mandatorily even if there are no transactions. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. That is
Right.
clear, sir.
Right. Now, category 2 disclosures. Category 2 disclosures triggered only when there is a transaction, right? If there is no transaction, then these are not triggered. Now, if the transaction is there, then what are the disclosures? So disclosures required only when there are related party transactions, and transactions are in the nature of compensation to KMPs in total and for each category of short-term employee benefits, post-employment benefits, other long-term benefits, termination benefits, and share-based payment benefits. So have you ever seen a table depicting the compensation paid to KMPs in the related party schedule? Did you notice?
Yes, sir.
So under the IGAP, we were only disclosing the total of the amount paid to the KMP, right? But under Ind AS, not only the total, we have to divide that total into these 5 categories, right? Suppose total 1 crore is being paid, then out of that 1 crore, how much is the short term, that is the salaries and wages, how much is the post employment, that is the gratuity, right? Or leave encashment if after retirement or after termination, how much other benefits, for example, bonuses, how much the termination benefits, VRS, etc., if any paid, and how much the ESOPs we have paid. So that needs to be divided into these 5 categories, and this table needs to be presented, and thereafter the total needs to be presented, right, for the KMPs. Is that clear? And any other related party transactions. For example, if you are making any purchase, sales, doing any leases, or making any licenses, purchase and sale, making any loans taken or given, guarantees taken or given, or XYZ, any sort of any transaction by whatever name called, right? If the transactions are there with any party, which party is appear to be related party within any of the definitions or the clauses, then those related party names, nature of relationship, and the transaction and the balances needs to be disclosed, right? So category 2 disclosures are the nature of the related party relationship and information about the related party transaction and the outstanding balance, including commitments. At minimum, what is required to be disclosed? Amount of the transaction, amount of the outstanding balance, any commitments, terms and conditions of secured, unsecured loans, if any given or taken, or if any guarantees are given or received, the nature of guarantees. If there are any doubtful debts, suppose I have made a sale to my related party, but now that related party is doubtful to be collected, so I need to create a ECL, expected credit loss. So that ECL calculated as per Ind AS 109, ECL provision also needs to be disclosed on my debtor balance, right? And then expense recognized during the period for the writing of any doubtful debts. So if there are any bad debts which have already been written off for any of the related parties, those disclosure also are required. Is that clear? So disclosures are more or less same, right? So whatever we have been doing under ICAI, we were disclosing the same thing: the transaction, the outstanding balance, the terms and conditions, and the provision for doubtful debts, and the bad debts written off. Now, instead of calling it provision for doubtful debts, we will call it as ECL, expected credit loss. Is that correct? Right? Then disclosures shall be made separately for each of the following categories. So we have to categorize all these transactions, right? For easy understandability of the users. What are the related to the parents? What are related to the joint controllers and significant influence where exist? What are related to subsidiaries? What are related to associates, JVs, and KMPs and other related parties, right? And then any provision of KMP services. So if we have received any KMP services from anybody, then what are we paying for them, right? So this is the sample disclosures which I have brought in here for your quick handy reference from the published annual report of listed company ITC Limited, right? So this is how they are disclosing: key management personnel name, right? Their date, when they were appointed or when they were resigned or released from the company, right? And then chief financial officer, right? Company secretary, then members of the corporate management committee because they are KMPs, right? And then relatives of those KMPs, right? With whom there might be a transaction, and then employee trust, right? ESOPs, gratuity plans. I mentioned in one of the clause that all these trusts needs to be disclosed, right? Thereafter, this is how they have categorized all their transactions. So here, nature of transaction is put in, and here the category, right? So for example, this is subsidiary, associate, JV, KMP, and relatives of the KMP, and employee trust, and then total, right? And this is the nature of transaction: purchase, sale, loan, etc. And here are the amounts. And then here, current year, previous year, current year, previous year, current year, previous year, current year, previous year, like that. And again in the total, current year, previous year, right? Is that clear? So this is how tabular presentation is done for easy and better understanding, right? And related parties are categorized by category of the relationship, right? Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir. But the KMP relative is mentioned in this report because
Sorry?
of the transaction. KMP relative or mentioned in the earlier slide.
Mhm.
The reason is that there might be transaction between
Yes.
them.
Yes. So
Otherwise, there is no need.
right. So the mandatory disclosure is for subsidiaries, right? JVs, right? And the KMPs. But relatives of the KMPs, right? Only disclose if there are transactions. So in this case, there are transactions, which is evident by this column, right? Hence, those are disclosed.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Right? Okay. The last section of the standard: exemption to the government related entities. So there are certain exemptions given for the government and the government related entities, right? Now, first question arises: why, right? Why a special treatment? But after looking at what is the exemption given and post exemption claim, what disclosures are required, you will call it hardly there is any material difference, right? So standard says on one side there are certain exemptions, but on the other side it is also demanding certain disclosures, but those certain disclosures are actually enough to make out what has happened, right? So I don't know, I don't find much of the difference between this exemption and then the demanded disclosures, right? So anyway, we need to read it out, right? So disclosure requirements for government and government related entities. Reporting entity is exempt. First of all, the standard is exempting from the disclosure requirements in relation to related party transactions, outstanding balance, and commitments, right? So they are saying you skip to report the transaction, you skip to report the outstanding balance, you skip to report the commitment with the government. Which government? That has control, joint control, or significant influence of you on you, right? Or any other entity that is a related party because the same government has control, joint control, or significant influence over both you and that party, right? So let's understand with an example. So government is, for example, say, for example, central government, right? Central government, right? And entities, for example, ONGC, right? And ONGC shareholding says, I'm taking a dummy example, say 58% is held by President of India. Yes. Have you ever checked the PSU shareholding? Always you will find the President of India holding those shares. Is that correct? Right. Now, central government is also having a 20% stake in ABC Limited, right? For which we are talking about, right? This is the reporting entity preparing the India's financials, right? Now, central government is related party to ABC Limited, yes or no?
Yes, sir. Because of the significant influence.
Because of the significant influence, or might be it may have joint control, right? Or it might have control even. For example, instead of ABC, this could be HPCL, right? So HPCL is also controlled by central government, President of India, right? So that could be the possibility. So central government and ABC Limited are related. Yes, they are related. Central government also holds 58% in the ONGC. So central government controls ONGC. So central government and ONGC are related. Yes. Now, by virtue of central government being the same government, right? Same government that has the control. So ONGC is also covered within the definition of another entity, right? For the exemption list, right? Now, in this case, ABC Limited will skip to do the disclosure for the transactions with the central government and with the ONGC. Is that clear? By claiming this exemption? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Why they are specifically excluding this, sir? Is there any reason?
So that is the special, exemption given for the government and government related entities, right? Because government doesn't want to be exposed. That's the only possible reason, right?
Okay, sir.
Fine. So in this case, ABC Limited will claim the exemption. Okay. Now, after claiming the exemption, standard says if a reporting entity applies the exemption, it shall disclose the following about the transaction and the outstanding balance, right? The name of the government, the nature of the government's relationship with the entity, whether it has control, joint control, or SI, and sufficient detail of the transaction. What is that sufficient detail? The nature of the transaction, the amount of the transaction, right? If the individual transaction is material, then the individual transaction amount. And if there are numerous transactions, then the total amount of all those transactions which are constituting significant portion. And for other transactions that are collectively significant, a qualitative as well as quantitative indication of their extent. Now, after looking at these disclosures, are you getting a sense that in spite of providing this exemption, if these are the disclosures which need to be made, then what's the point of claiming the exemption? Are you feeling that or not?
Yes, sir.
Because you are giving the name of the government, number one. You are giving the nature of the relationship, whether it is control, joint control, or significant influence. Then you are disclosing the sufficient detail of the transaction. What is that sufficient detail? The nature of the transaction and the amount of the transaction, right? And a qualitative and quantitative indication of their extent on the company. Then what is left?
What is significant transaction?
I'm coming to that.
Only the detailed disclosure what we provided around the 10 to 12 points, that is only missing.
Right. So the only disclosures, additional disclosures are left. Number one, any bad debts written off, that is skipped here, right? Which otherwise would have been provided. Any ECL on the outstanding balance, right? Which is not specifically asked here, right? So bad debts, ECL is not specifically asked, right? And furthermore, a relaxation is for each individually significant transaction. So if the transaction is significant, then only the individual transaction amount is required. But if we say no, individual transaction is not significant, but collectively the total of transaction is significant, then the amount is not required to be individually disclosed for each transaction, rather the total of all the transactions, right? So that is the another kind of subdued, relaxation, right? But now the point, what is significant, right? So reporting entity shall consider the closeness of the related party relationship and other factors relevant in establishing the level of significance of the transaction, such as whether it is significant in terms of size, that is the amount, carried at non-market terms, outside the normal day-to-day business operations. I am into the business of, say supplying air conditioners, but I am supplying almiras, right? So I don't have the business of purchase and sale of almiras. Only I supply ACs. But because for government I received a contract, I procured almiras and supplied. So this is outside my business, yes or no? Normal day course of operations. So this raises the flag, right? Why I'm getting involved in supplying a commodity for which I am not doing a regular business. So in that case, this transaction becomes a significant. Disclosed regulatory or supervisory authorities. For such transaction, they are presented to any regulatory or supervisory authorities for their approval, right? Or reported to senior management before getting these transactions done, or subject to the shareholder approval in the AGM or EGM. So if any of these, any combination of these, or all of these factors are present for any transaction which you come to your notice, then in that case you will call these transactions insignificant, and hence you will consider these transactions for the purpose of these disclosures. And if none of these criteria are met for any transaction, then that transaction will not be regarded as significant, and that will be completely outside the scope of the disclosure. Is that clear?
Clear.
Clear. So in nutshell, what is the relaxation? The relaxation is, if we do not claim this relaxation, then the regular disclosures, right? And if we claim this relaxation, then these limited disclosures. So what is the delta between the regular and these limited disclosures? Regular disclosures will require every transaction to be reported, whether significant or not. Specific disclosures demand only significant transactions to be reported. Yes, that is one delta. Yes or no? Another delta or difference is, regular disclosure requires the bad debts written off, the ECL provided for items as well. But in this disclosure, that is not demanded, right? Because nowhere they are asking for that, right? So we will not disclose that portion as well. So that is the delta. Third, in regular disclosure, each transaction has to be reported in its individual capacity. But in this, we can club non-significant transactions, right, into a single line item, right, multiple transactions, and give the total, right, instead of disclosing each transaction separately, right? That is also another option available, right? For the company to opt for, what do you think?
Sir, overall, there is not much difference in disclosure.
Right. Overall, there is no much difference. Correct. I agree. Now, my question to you is this exemption is mandatory to avail or optional to avail on the part of the reporting entity?
I think it is mandatory, sir.
It is optional. So reporting entity is exempt from disclosures, right? But if somebody doesn't want to claim exemption, then it can continue with the regular disclosure. So this is optional, right? Right. So if somebody wants to claim, they can claim. If somebody doesn't want to claim, go and do the regular disclosures, right? Let's do this question. Government G, KMP, Government G, direct control over entity 1 and entity 1 control entity A and entity B. Direct control over entity 2. Entity 2 control entity C and entity D, right? And entity 1 has a KMP Mr. X. Now, what do you think? Which all part, if entity 1 is the reporting entity, suppose we are preparing the financial statements, RE is the entity 1. So for entity, from entity 1 perspective, for which all other entities it can claim the exemption from government related disclosure exemption. What do you think? Which all entities are covered for, exemption to be taken by reporting entity 1?
G and entity 2.
G and entity 2, okay. A, B, C, D, ni? And what about Mr. X, KMP? For entities A's financial statements, the exemption of Ind AS applies to transaction with government G, entity 1, entity 2, entity B, C, D, right? However, the exemption does not apply for transactions with person X, right? So this is for entity A. So we are talking about this one, RE. Now, in my question, I have asked for entity 1. So in case of entity 1, what will eventually happen? Entity A and entity B are the subsidiaries of entity 1 itself, right? So no exemption. And for C and D as well, no exemption. But for entity 2, exemption is available, yes. But for Mr. X, entity exemption is not available, right? So the exemption for entity 1, it is G and entity 2, right? For entity A, oblique B, oblique C, oblique D, the exemption would be G 1 oblique 2 and A oblique B oblique C oblique D. Correct? Correct?
Yes.
Is that clear? So if we change the RE, the answer will change, right? So we have to identify for each RE within the group to master our, concept, right? So for RE as entity A, it could be government and entity 1, right? And entity 2. But for RE entity 1, now for RE entity 1, entity A and entity B are its subsidiary only, right? So for subsidiary, no exemption, right? Because they are its direct subsidiaries, right?
Yes.
Correct? So exemption is for what? Let me repeat it again. So exemption is a government that has control, joint control, or significant influence over the reporting entity or another entity that is a related party, because the same government has control, joint control, or significant influence over both the reporting entity and the other entity, right? So government is either controlling or joint controlling or significantly influencing the main reporting entity as well as the other entity, then only, right? But step down subsidiaries of these entities are not covered, correct? Okay. What are the key differences between the Ind AS 24 and Ind AS 18? So first of all, the definition of relative, right? So under IGAP 18, what was covered? The person himself, the spouse, the son, the daughter, the brother, the sister, the father, the mother, right? But here, what else is covered? The domestic partner is covered, right? And the children of that domestic partner is covered, and the dependents of that domestic partner is covered. First of all, domestic partner, children of domestic partner, and dependents of domestic partner. 3 additional items. Number 2, dependents of the spouse. That is also not there in IGAP, correct? Right? Related parties in case of joint venture. So, India's 24 is extended coverage in case of joint ventures. 2 entities are related to each other or both in their financial statements if they are co-venturers, or one venturer and other is associate. So what does it say? Let me quickly draw an example. Suppose H has a JV, JH, right? And H has a associate, JA, right? So JH and JH are related, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
H and J are related, yes or no? Associate, right? And this is the JV. Both are related for H? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Now, for the JH, JA is related, yes or no?
Yes, sir. They're related, sir.
Yes. For the JA, JH is related, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
No. So for associate, it is not related, right? But for joint venture, it is related. Clear? If we are preparing the associate books, JH is not related. If we are preparing the JH books, JA associate is related. Is that clear? As per AS 18, neither the co-venturers nor the co-associates are related, right? So under IGAP, neither the JH was related to J nor the JA was related to JH, right? But under India's, for JH, J is related, right? Post-employment benefit plans covered under India's 24 were not covered under account IGAP. Disclosure of the KMPs covered category-wise. AS 18 never required disclosure of the KMP's compensation, right? Next most senior parent name is required under India's 24, right? In case my immediate senior parent is not preparing the CFS, right? No such discussion under AS 18. AS 18 was altogether silent on this. KMPs. India's 24 covers KMP of the parent as well, or AS 18 covers of the KMP of the reporting entity only, right? That is the difference which we have discussed when we started in the morning, correct? Then for government control, there are specific set of exemptions and disclosure given and prescribed by India's 24, which we have just understood. For IGAP, AS 18 defines the state control entities as an enterprise which is under the control of the central government or the state government, right? And here the definition of the government is government refers to government agencies and similar bodies, local, national, or international. So the definition of government also is wider under India's as compared to the definition given by the AS 18, right? And then government related information, certain disclosures are required. Still, after claiming the exemption, AS 18 completely exempts, right? No disclosures are required. So that was it from me on this related party disclosure standard. Let's try our knowledge on these MCQs, right? Picked up from your past examinations. Let's see how much we have understood in today's session. An entity that has a common director with the entity is not required to make the minimum disclosure prescribed under Ind AS 24. True or false?
True, sir. Common director is not required.
True. Ind AS 24 requires disclosure of compensation of KMP. Which of the following would not be considered as the compensation? Short-term benefits, share-based payments, termination, reimbursement of out-of-pocket.
Reimbursement of
Reimbursement
out-of-pocket
out-of-pocket
expenses.
expense.
Perfect. Which of the following statements relating to the disclosure under Ind AS 24 related parties are true? Statement number 1. The standard requires disclosure of the KMP compensation who are working in executive capacity only. B. The measurement of the transaction between the related parties shall be at the fair value. C. Parties having joint control over the reporting entity and joint ventures in which the reporting entity is a venturer are covered by this standard. D. Two venturers are not related parties simply because they share the joint control over a joint venture. Options A, B, C are true. A, C, D are true. A, B, D are true. C and D are true. Now this is becoming tricky, right? It requires a lot of practice to understand the literature. So just try to revise the clauses along with the charts, right? So master on the language as well as on the charts.
I think 4 is
Sir,
the
I
option.
think for CD or it will be ACD. 2 or 4.
C
I am
and D.
also.
C and D are true. So since
Yeah.
morning, have we ever discussed the word fair value?
No.
No,
No. So
no,
by
sir. No
default,
way.
by default, it is the false, right?
This is wrong. Yes, sir.
Right. Then the standard requires disclosure of KMP only for executive capacity. Have we ever discussed anything like that?
No, sir.
Only executive,
No.
non-executive? No. So
No,
this is
sir.
also false, right? This is also false. So, okay, let me give you one more rule. So in the examination, whenever you are in doubt, instead of finding the answer, try to follow the elimination approach. Getting my point? So if you
This
work
is
on
what I
the
did.
elimination approach, you will be left with fewer choices where you need to decide upon, right? So just try to eliminate, right? Then parties having joint control over the reporting entity and the joint ventures in which the reporting entity is a venturer are covered by this standard. So parties having joint control are related to each other, yes or no?
Yes.
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 Right? Then two venturers are not related simply because they share joint control over a joint venture. I have discussed at least 5 times
Yes, sir.
since morning.
Yes, sir. You.
We
Yes,
have
sir.
also have 2 examples.
Right. So C and D are true. Correct. So try to use the elimination approach in the MCQs.
Since A is not correct, A is in 3 options. So D is 4th is the only option which could be correct.
Correct. Right. Which of the following event would require disclosure in the financial statements of the RP Group, a public limited company under Ind AS 24 related party disclosures? The retirement benefit scheme of the group is managed by another merchant bank. An investment manager of the group retirement benefit scheme is also a non-executive director of the RP Group and received an annual fee for rupees 2.5 lakh, which is not material in the group context. The group pays 16 crore per annum to the scheme and occasionally transfer assets to the scheme. In 2014, property, plant and equipment worth rupees 10 crore were also transferred into the scheme and a recharge of administrative cost of rupees 30 lakh was made. The contribution paid and the non-current asset transfer of 10 crore and the administrative charge of 30 lakh is a related party transaction. Option number B, the contribution paid, the non-current asset transfer and the management fees is the related party transaction, or the manager's fees and the administrative charge is the only related party transactions, or the third is all above transactions are related party transactions?
I think the significant transaction is below that we need not report.
Hmm.
I
Did
think
we discuss
I go
this?
with option.
Did we this have I said anywhere during last 3 years that only material or significant transactions needs to be disclosed?
No, sir. Nothing like this.
Right? Except in the government case, right? So
Sir, for the government case I'm talking about.
no, so but here is not the government case, no. In the facts, anywhere it is written government word.
No, sir. This is a public limited company.
So then how you are assuming? No, don't assume, right? Unless and until in the examination, in the facts, anything is written, right?
I think all of the above.
All of the above. So irrespective of the amount, even if the transactions are not material and it is mentioned in the facts, so we will not confused by the materiality for the related party transaction disclosure. Materiality has no say, right? All the transactions needs to be disclosed.
Yes, sir. Even
right?
single also need to be reported.
So standard has used the word irrespective of the price charged. What does it mean? Even if the transaction is for free. Clear? Okay. Ind AS 24 requires a reporting entity to disclose the relationships dash irrespective of whether the transaction there have been a transaction between them, with the suppliers and customers, between the parents and subsidiaries, with the government, or between the associates.
Between parents and subsidiaries.
Ye wala?
Yes.
Category 1, right?
B.
Intra-group related party transactions and outstanding balances are dash, except for those between an investment entity and subsidiaries measured at fair value through the profit and loss in the preparation of the consolidated financial statements of the group. Derecognized, eliminated, presented separately, disclosed.
Eliminated, sir.
Eliminated, correct. While preparing the CFS, you eliminate the transactions with the subsidiaries, right? And the balances. A related party transaction is a transfer of resource, service, or obligation between a reporting entity and the related party unless a market price is charged, when no price is charged, regardless of whether a price is charged at a price that is lower than the current market price.
Regardless of whether the price is charged or not charged.
Regardless whether a price is charged, correct? Statement 1. In considering each possible related party relationship, attention is directed to the substance of the relationship and not merely the legal form. Statement 2. Two entities that have a director or other member of the KMP personnel in common, or a member of the KMP personnel of one entity has a significant influence over the other entity, are related parties.
C.
Sir, true and false.
I also think true and false.
Good morning, Abhinay ji.
Good morning, ma'am.
Myself, Dr. Rashmi Goel.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, if you give us the liberty, we today want to take the feedback from the students about the classes.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And good day, sir. And I request you to kindly leave so that I can take the feedback, please, sir.
Sure. So that was all from my side. There were 2 MCQs which I can give in the homework, right? That was all. I was anyway about to close in next 2 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you, Abhinay ji. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Students, we request you to stay back.
Thank you.
We can talk to you freely. So thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, good morning, students. We have a few students in the class, but we still want to know the effectiveness of the class, the additional features that you require, so that we can help you out as much as is possible. So is there any kind of a feedback, or should I take it that everything is going well? Samay, Nathan, Bibu, Sanjay, Geeta, and Leela.
Ma'am, everything is going well.
Yeah, Bibu.
Yes, ma'am. It is structured in nicely, and also it's covered in the ICAI study material, and the concept is clearly explained. It is really useful to understand, and when we are going through the study material, ma'am, it's really useful.
Yeah, actually, we know that all of us are working hard to support all of you. But we want just a the feedback in case if additional kind of a guidance you people require, or you have any kind of feedback regarding the timings or any other things. Because now what I'm seeing that you need classes for the FR, but FM, I believe that nobody wants to come down. Is it so?
No, ma'am, we are there, ma'am. An FM class.
Since we are parallelly running our revisionary
We are
class,
there in FM class, ma'am.
today it was revisionary class of AFM, but you joined FR. So what is the reason? That is ma'am is keen to know.
Because what we have understood also was you people are also a few of them are also going for your articleship.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, we prefer morning timing or evening timing so that it is possible for all of you to attend the classes. So we want to understand if anybody has any kind of a feedback, let us know so that we can improve upon on our modalities.
Students, please be frank.
Fair.
So that we can understand your expectations.
It is a positive action that we want over here. We do not want to collect anything negative or want to do anything negative. Yeah.
Ma'am, one thing I can suggest, ma'am, the morning classes can be a little bit early, half an hour. It may
Okay.
be from 6:30.
So you suggest 6:30 to 9:30?
Yeah, ma'am.
Now I request other remaining students to give their feedback on this. If we change the class timing from 6:30 to 9:30, then all of you support it or not? Although it is a very small group, still we want to understand. Look, only Bibu
Yes,
is
it is
talking.
okay with me.
Okay, who?
Yeah, okay with me.
Sanjay. And what about Geeta and Leela?
It's okay, ma'am.
And Geeta?
Yes, ma'am, it's okay. But I have to do some household work also. It's okay. Early will, it's okay.
It would be more beneficial for you then.
Yeah. It's without hurdle, I can do it.
Yeah. Even I got married when I was doing CA. So it helped a lot to get up early and study well before we start our house chaos.
Even 6 is okay.
Even 6 is okay. No, we will not go to that extent. Let us go step by step with half an hour only.
Ma'am, it's okay to we can move to 6:30, ma'am. That would be fine.
Yeah. That would
you
be
want
there
only
also.
for FR or you want for all subjects morning classes?
Even all subject also fine. Not
Yes,
only
that
this
should.
class.
Yeah, it should be for
Not
all the
only
subjects.
for all subjects, ma'am.
Because one subject alone is moved to 6:30, other subject is to 7
It will
o'clock.
create
It
confusion
will
on.
create a
Create
more confusion
confusion.
for all.
And also the consistency also will miss. So 6:30 means our mind will be fixed for 6:30.
Definitely.
So can we
For
think
all
of
the classes, we will be
shifting the
attending at
classes
6:30.
from 6:30 from 1st December onwards? Let's give a time gap of 1 month in order to disseminate this information across our batch, and then we will switch to 6 o'clock.
And what about evening?
Evening fine, ma'am. 6 to 9, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Evening is perfectly fine.
Okay. So morning we can shift by half an hour only. We welcome this feedback and let us collect this feedback across all subjects and then we will take a decision. Yeah.
Actually, I was going through your feedback. You mentioned
Ma'am,
here
your
that
volume is not reachable to us, ma'am.
just a minute. Let me see. Is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Geeta, I'm just asking. I was going through your feedback yesterday. I found that you are suggesting one thing that for LVRC also you need some concepts revision before taking up the questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Uh, Geeta, for that, I would request you to please go through your concepts yourself only, because we are keeping it across all the subjects, that in case if we start devoting time in giving the concepts also in the revisionary classes, then it will be your one or two question, it will reduce your question practice over there.
And actually, revisionary classes, we presume that you have already completed your first round of study and you are thorough with the concepts. We are just giving the questions, and along with the questions, we are taking the concepts again, rebrushing the concepts, only because we feel that paper is practical paper and questions are asked, not the theory. So what we are focusing is question practice.
And there's one more idea. You go through our LVC recorded sessions already available online over here on our knowledge portal, and then come for the class. Your conceptual problem would be resolved from there.
And instead, if you feel that something you need, no, you can just unmute yourself. There's an open house session also. You can ask your query. Sir can repeat in case if you are not able to understand any question because of the concepts you are not prepared for. You can ask him to explain. Okay.
On Monday, we have on Monday or Tuesday?
Revisionary classes, Wednesday.
No, open house session.
Open house session is on Monday, 4 o'clock, 4 to 5.
Yeah, 4 to 5, there is an arrangement of open house query sessions between 4 to 5 on each day. For financial reporting, you all of you can feel free to come down on Monday, seeking resolve any of the query that you feel like you want to get resolved. If immediately it is not resolved, at least you can speak with the teacher.
And we'll try to reply you over the WhatsApp that group. Or we can ask your email ID and we can share those for you.
But all your queries will be solved. It is now high time for all of you to wake up, start practicing as much as you want. In case if you have problem, feel free to contact our faculties. They are available between 4 to 5. At least for finance students, we have this arrangement. On Monday, we have financial reporting. Tuesday, we have financial reporting. Paper 3 on Wednesday. Paper 4 on Thursday. So you have enough of the time over there. Utilize it. Utilize all these resources.
But see revision classes, but in case you are going to appear for May examination and your first round of study is not there, then please be here only in this live virtual classes. Once complete your syllabus with detailed explanation and then move on to revisionary classes. Okay.
Or do both the things.
One more thing, we would like to announce one more thing. We are going to conduct fortnight program, which is starting from 11th November. And on 11th November, we'll be having financial reporting session. So every day we have devoted one paper, one class of 2 hours or say whatever it is for one paper. So starting with final, alternate it will be inter, then final, then enter. So on 11th November, we have scheduled for financial reporting where I'll be there along with the expert, and whatever technical query or general query with respect to financial reporting you have, you can ask it. We have also shared the Google form on the our BOS portal. You can please fill that also to raise your queries, and request everybody to take this opportunity and ask your questions and to try to understand what are the issues which others are also facing and which you have and you want that resolution for the same. We'll be there to cater you. And flyer of the same we have already shared on the WhatsApp group. If not, we'll share it again, the flyer of the that fortnight program, and just go through that. We are getting very good response, good number of registration, and we request you all also to join that program and also to communicate and spread this that we are going to conduct this.
We are going to give you the information about what are the common mistakes which students conduct, how you can strategize your preparation for the exam, and how you have to attempt your paper. So all these strategies will be shared over there, which is not so far discussed in the classes.
Please be there. That will be very, very useful for
this session will be held at 3 p.m. on daily basis. On alternate days for the final, the classes are starting from 11th of November, and for the inter, the classes are starting from 12th of November. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Any other question?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.